Have you ever had that moment when bedtime is nearly over, but then your child says, "Mummy, don't go." And before you've even thought about it, you accidentally sigh, maybe even roll your eyes a little, and then almost immediately think, "Oh, I don't want to be like this with him." Give me the next few minutes and I'll show you how that guilt reveals more about you as a mum than your irritation does, because your reaction almost never means what you think it does. If you want to start interrupting your reactions before the irritation leaks out, my Sigh to Snap spotter walks you through the four most common emotional cycles mums move through under pressure so you can recognize which one is yours. I'm Emma Reed. I'm a qualified counsellor and the founder of Dreaming Future Parents. I work with mums who love their children deeply and are still, at the end of long days, catching themselves reacting in ways they don't feel proud of. In this video, I want to help mums understand what's actually happening at the end of a long day with your kids, because that understanding will help you choose more effectively what's best for your children and for you, more than guilt or self-criticism ever will. It can feel very painful when your child reaches for you and inside you feel yourself pulling back, especially if you finally got to bedtime after a long, full day. You're exhausted, emotionally stretched, and quietly counting down to being able to just stop. You've been available, present, and patient for hours, and you're looking forward to some quiet once bedtime is done. But then your child looks up at you and says, "Mummy, don't go." And there's that tight flash of irritation, the short sigh that slips out with an eye roll, and a resentful thought of, "I just want this to be done." But then you catch yourself realizing how horrible that sounds, and immediately you're filled with guilt. It's your own response that stays with you when you're replaying it on a loop later on, not your child's need, your reaction to it. And you think, "I don't want to be like this with him." Now, most mums try to push on through the exhaustion, even though they're also having to strongly contain their own frustration, not at their child, but at the never-ending demand to be available. They swallow the irritation. They stay because they want to give this time to their child. They try to sound warmer than they actually feel. And underneath it all, a quiet resentment builds. "I need this day to end. I'm too tired to do this. Why can't they just go to sleep?" But then asking later, what kind of mum am I getting irritated by my child wanting me near? Occasionally, at her absolute limit, a mum does get up and leave, and it's not out of cruelty. By this point, she literally has nothing left to give and no one else to pick up the slack. Both options, staying or leaving, make complete sense. But what makes them a lot harder is the self-critical commentary that comes with them. On the surface, trying to hold in that irritation makes sense. You don't want your child to deal with your unfiltered emotions. But the irritation itself is not the real problem. And it definitely isn't proof that you're a terrible person. When you're torn between your child's need for closeness and your need for rest, when neither can be fully met at the same time, it can feel like you have to abandon either your child or yourself. The irritation points to the impossible choice you're faced with. But the guilt that comes after adds another layer. It tells you that you've done something wrong, that you're not a good enough mum, but no one has actually done anything wrong here. Your child really needs your closeness. You really need to rest and recover. And parenting isn't about never having different needs. And the fact that it's not working right now in this moment doesn't mean you're getting it all wrong. This is where my admit, accept, allow approach becomes useful. Because being the mum you want to be isn't about finding a way to stop yourself being tired, or forcing yourself to carry on when you're at your limit, or stopping your child needing you at an inconvenient time. It's about being able to hold both their needs and yours at the same time without making either of you wrong. Step one is admit. Admit what's actually happening. So when you notice that flash of tightness or the sigh or the eye roll, admit the irritation. For many mums, it's almost a forbidden feeling, but remember, it's telling you something about your own limits. Oh, I'm annoyed. I must be really stretched tonight. Step two is accept. Accept both your child's and your needs without choosing between them. When it feels like it's either them or you, that's when things start getting difficult. In fact, you can partly meet your child's need for closeness, and you can partly meet your own need for rest at the same time. You don't have to be caught between these as separate options. When you accept that you're both tired and you both need comfort, you stop seeing each other as being on opposite sides, and instead you can make an informed choice about what's best for both of you, rather than having the choice made for you by the pressure of the moment. And your decision might be different on different evenings. And this is where step three, allow, comes in. Allow yourself to choose. Some nights you recognize you actually have nothing left and you leave, but you leave with warmth. I love you. I'm very tired tonight. We'll talk tomorrow. Your child who needed your closeness gets your honesty instead, which is also a form of closeness. Other nights you stay, but not resentfully. You lie beside him, you let yourself rest, you let your quiet do what that forced patience couldn't. Neither decision is wrong. What matters is where the decision comes from. A choice made from seeing both yourself and your child compassionately feels different from a reaction made under pressure. Your child feels that difference, and so do you. Once you understand what the irritation is really showing you, you stop believing you're a bad mum because of it. It's just what happens when someone who's been giving all day long gets asked to give more at the exact moment when rest finally feels within reach. And when you understand what that resentment really means, the self-judgment starts to ease. And it doesn't make the tiredness go away, but when you're no longer feeling awful about who you are on top of everything else, it's easier to accept that you're both tired, you both need comfort, even if it's differently. And from that understanding, you can better support your child with honesty and warmth. Most mums think their reactions are random, feeling like sometimes I cope, but sometimes I lose it. But usually they're following one of four predictable patterns. If you want to find out which one you go through under pressure, the sigh to snap spotter will show you, because you can't interrupt a pattern you haven't spotted yet. The link is in the bio. The sooner you can spot your own automatic reactions, the sooner you can interrupt the normal irritation, resentment, and guilt that we've been talking about here. You stop forcing yourself to continue under pressure and instead start seeing the whole picture. Your child's need, your own need, and the different options available to you that allow recognition of both. Not being stuck in the either or of their needs or yours allows you to protect that connection and safety for your child before the reactivity and guilt fully takes hold.